season of the Fantasy Fullback Dive, brought to you by the good people of the Roto Street Journal, paving your way to fantasy excellence, glory, etc., so on, so forth. We are going to be your lead blocker, and we started it like the day after the Super Bowl, but we're still going hard, and we're going to be your lead blocker today, trying to bring down whatever fantasy championship is on the line in your league, whether you're with your buddies or some dudes at work or some jackasses on the internet that you've never met. We're the answer to all your problems. We're the cure for what ails you. I, of course, am Nat the Truth Jones. With me, as always, well, not as always, I haven't been here for a while, but with me, like he has been a bunch of times in the past, the Wolf of Roto Street himself. How you doing, Wolf?
Hey, I'm fantastic, man. I know it's been way too long. I've missed going with you. I never thought I'd say those words, but I have missed it for sure. Thrilled to be back talking about the draft. Finally, this is the time of the year. And as much as we preach it's a stock market and as much value as we say there is to tracking how people are going up and down, I do firmly believe that. Finally, after the draft, we can be confident and just take a pause and say these rankings are actually firm until, this August comes around and the training camp hits and preseason hits. Of course, they're going to be up and down quite a bit from there, but for now it's just nice to take a breather and know we got a set ranking list here and we can start digging into it. Of course, tonight we're going to do just the rookies, but I'm thrilled to be back, thrilled to be going again, and somehow excited to see you. I didn't believe I would be.
I appreciate the compliments, both backhanded and forehanded, so thank you very much for that. I had a pretty wild weekend, or not wild per se, but pretty fun, eventful weekend. I don't know. Have you ever heard of this show, Game of Thrones?
Is that on like what, PBS? I'm not sure.
Cinemax.
Oh, okay, Skinamax, late night. Okay.
Anyway, all bullshit aside. So Saturday I saw Avengers Endgame, and then Sunday I followed that up with Game of Thrones. So I'm pretty fired up, pretty happy, and now falling into the Monday podcast routine again. Did you see Thrones last night?
Of course I saw Thrones last night. Yeah, I heard a lot of people, a lot of psychos like you did that whole end game and then Thrones. Are you just like drained to the max at this point?
Yeah. It was worth it though. I mean, they were both phenomenally good.
Yeah, I didn't see the end game yet, but I did see Thrones, which I did enjoy thoroughly. But the first 45 minutes being like darkness, and I get the intended
it was too
effect.
dark, right?
It's like, I want to see some head smashing. I want to see all that good stuff we've come to love. I get the intended effect to put you right into the chaos and not know what's going on. But at a certain point, it got too extreme.
I want to know what's going on.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, was it a fun episode? Of course. I thought we actually got off pretty light on the death load. I thought they were going to kill off someone more important than, say, Jorah. I would say Battle of the Bastards, Hardhome. There's definitely a few battles I'd have above this one, as entertaining as it was.
I don't think you're wrong on that. I mean, we have to be careful because we're about to dive into like a 35-minute Thrones conversation.
It's
supposed to be a redraft thing. I'll just say that as far as getting off easy on the death toll, I think 6 people that were like maybe significant people died. And I was talking to my wife about it last night, and it's like, with the exception of one person that I thought was going to die and didn't, I would have nailed literally every one of the deaths. I would have said, this guy, this guy, this guy. It's like they're going from the bottom of their depth chart. Mm-hmm. They're like, Barrick. Oh, the guy, Ed, that took over the Night Watch. And I was like, yeah, these guys are all doomed. Like, they all have names. Like, we know who they are, but none of us give a shit about them, and so they're all dead.
Exactly.
And so I nailed all of those. I thought Grey Worm was a goner.
I did too, yeah.
Which would have been fine with me. But anyway, somehow he survived. All right, so I have a lot that I want to talk to you about on Thrones, but we got to get into this, or else there's no way we're going to get done with this within the allotted time. We're going to be talking fantasy football rookie rankings, 2019, of course, and this is redraft rankings. These guys value for the 2019 season, not dynasty leagues. Obviously, that changes everything. If you're looking long term, that's a completely different ballgame. We're talking about if you're drafting a league for 2019, where these guys are going to go. The Wolf has made his rankings, of course, because that's what he does. We're going to go down the top 10 guys on the list. Now, there's more guys than this, obviously. We have 20, maybe even more than that. I mean, we have every guy included on the list and stuff. You can obviously find that stuff at the website. But we're going to do the top 10 on the podcast today. This is actually going to be a really informative podcast for me because the Wolf dives a lot deeper into the draft than I do. Like, I know who a lot of these guys are. I know a little bit about them. But, given the guys that the Wolf has been talking to and couple that with his own knowledge on stuff like this, I'm going to learn a lot. And this is hopefully going to be my leg up hopefully this is going to act as my lead blocker for fantasy glory in the upcoming season, because I've been struggling a little bit lately.
Absolutely.
So anyway, let's get into this. You want to talk real quick about some of the other stuff you've got coming up before we get into this? You got a couple other pods that you've been maybe cheating on me with a little bit.
I know. I'm sorry. I mean, you are still, every time I see you, it's nice to come back to Daddy in my home over here. But yeah, no, I've got some really exciting interviews lined up for this week, and I know I love to get the interviews in with you, but I know the dad life sometimes, the butterfly farm and things like that can get in the way at times. I know you've probably been frequenting that lately. But we've got some fantastic ones lined up. We got our boy Trevor Sikkema. You probably heard his draft preview. He's generous enough to join us now for a draft breakdown. It's great to hear a preview and get a painting of all the prospects you're going to hear about, but it's way more valuable to then break down when they're in their actual homes and we know the offense they're in, their fits, and the coaches. It just makes it that much more valuable. So I'm thrilled that he's going to join us. I'm going to be interviewing him tomorrow at 3:30, so that should be up maybe Wednesday or so. I got Drew Hollingshead. If you missed that first air raid preview, ffbdpod.com/68. We'll show you the first, where we kind of just painted the overall picture. But now that we're going to talk about a lot of these guys in a few minutes, but we have, Kyler Murray going there and all these receivers. They took 3 receivers in the draft. So it's clear they are all in on this air raid offense. They've put the talent they want there. So Hollingshead's coming back in to explain, how is Hakeem Butler, how's Andy Isabella going to mix with Larry Fitzgerald, and how they're going to have 5 receivers on the field and all that great stuff. He's back. He coaches under Mike Leach, so he's as close to an air raid guru as you're going to find. He actually played under Kingsbury, so he knows Kliff as good as anybody. Thrilled to have him back on, and our boy Grant Cohen's coming on later in the week, so we're just trying to get you all the draft coverage. That's the 49ers breakdown for Cohen. They took a bunch of interesting receivers. You got Garoppolo coming back to help. Just needless to say, the lead blocks are going to be coming fast and furious from now until draft day, trying to get at least 2 to 3 interviews a week like we are now. This, of course, is to focus on the draft, but me and you will, of course, be doing at least 1 standalone, if not 2 a week as well.
This week we know we're going to have 2, but generally speaking, yes. All you Truth fans out there, I'm talking all 4 of you. I'll still be around.
And what I'm thrilled about, Truth,
once, maybe twice a week.
What I'm thrilled about with you is we started to brainstorm a little bit, and just to give them a little sneak peek of what we've been scheming behind the scenes is we kind of want to get like a weekly culture style podcast where, maybe it's top 5 side bets of the week, and we pick, user submitted trash talk or whatnot. There's just so much great stuff about fantasy. Maybe we make Game of Thrones rankings, just a little bit more flexibility, not so much to inform you, but to entertain you. I think you already love that stuff, and we've already come up with some amazing lists together. So to have like a standalone style, I'm excited to do with you. So hopefully we can get those started soon too.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Have you been watching Survivor?
Oh, of course. This is a great season.
We'll talk about that.
We can talk about Survivor.
I wish I was doing write-ups on that.
Anyway,
all right, let's get into the rookies, because there's a lot of non-football stuff to talk about, but we know that at least most of you tuned in for the football stuff. So anyway, tier number 1 of our 2019 rookies redraft settings. Once again, we got running back Josh Jacobs. Now the Wolf has him 36 overall on the big board, and the running back 19. Now, we're not going to really get too much. Usually we like to tout our differences with the ECR, stuff like that. Not really going to be doing this on this pod. The numbers are way, way, way skewed. Yeah. Just to give you an example on this one, the Wolves 153 spots higher than the ECR on this guy. That stuff will likely even out a little bit. We might still be higher on him than the so-called experts. But right now, that's where we're at. We're not going to disregard those. So I'm not going to be throwing the ECR at you for every guy, or really for any other guys after this one. 36 overall, 19th running back. That's quite a bit of respect for a guy that's just coming out, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is no Saquon Barkley of last year. We had him top 5 overall, top 4 in our running backs. But it is a similar case where this guy was consensus number 1 running back across all draft guides that you'd read. All the industry respected this guy more than any other rookie. And the reasons are very clear if you watch his tape. His vision's unbelievable. He doesn't have incredible long speed, ran a 4.52 40, but overall he just finds the hole so well. Just very smooth as a runner, great after contact, good balance. strong receiver, just one of those typical 3-down style guys, but wasn't actually used to that fullest capacity at Alabama, splitting time with Damian Harris. So that could be seen as that plus or minus. His tread is a little bit lighter on his tires, but then he also hasn't proven he can handle that full 25, 30 carries a game. But right after the draft, the Raiders came out and said, we envision him in a 3-down, every down workhorse role. Jacobs is built for it. He's strong enough. He's big enough to handle that, in my opinion. I just think he hasn't fully got it. Sycamore, when we had him on last week, said this guy is well built and well suited skill set wise for an every down role. And where better to get it than the Raiders? They have Isaiah Crowell and Jalen Richard at the top of their depth chart. So
That's
it was
right.
wide open for the take. And the only depth chart that was more open, in my opinion, was the Bucks. And they didn't end up doing anything. That's a whole nother episode. We'll break down veterans.
Trevor Sycamore should have some thoughts on that. He's a Bucks guy.
Oh,
right?
yeah. He predicted that. He said they're not going to draft a running back. Just wait and see. And I was like, I don't agree with you. They had Peyton Barber. He goes, they love him, I'm telling you. And so be it.
Peyton Barber fucked me royally last year. I don't even want to talk about Peyton Barber.
Oh, he's disgusting, but he's the man at the top of the depth chart. But this is about Josh Jacobs, nonetheless. And
sure.
To put it short, again, it's the perfect meeting of one of the most open backfields, and the number one running back talent about to see workhorse duties. So that's, again, with fantasy, you talk about impact with rookies. It's almost always the running back position. And Josh Jacobs is by far the clearest cut top talent, seeing the top volume at that position. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be a very reliable RB2 with that clear-cut top 10 upside as well.
All right, another running back that you really like and a lot of people really like. So this guy, the Bears traded up with the Patriots, and they got David Montgomery, who you actually have 45 overall and is your running back number 23 right now. So really not that far behind Jacobs at all. What are the things that jump out at you at this guy? This guy?
Oh, I absolutely love this guy. In terms of just his ability, his moniker is just breaking tackles. He set Pro Football Focus's records in terms of 100 forced missed tackles this year in college football. He's running behind a line where he had to do a ton of work, and work he did. He churns. He's just so good at that initial contact, that whether it's a spin move, whether it's a juke, he knows right when it's about to hit, and he gets out of it so well. And then he breaks it if they do get their arms around him. Very elusive inside the hole and then outside the hole as well. So I love that about him, and I think it makes him a perfect fit for Matt Nagy. I trust Matt Nagy a lot when it comes to running backs. This is the guy that took Kareem Hunt in the 3rd round just a couple years ago, and uncoincidentally, almost every draft pundit is comparing this guy, David Montgomery, to Kareem Hunt, which Matt Nagy himself comes out after they ask him about that at a press conference and says, yeah, I see the similarities. They both run angry. They're both elusive in the hole. They both have strong hands. I see why you would do that, but this is still his own style of runner, is what Nagy said about it. And then he also made sure to say that it's the whole package. 3-down guy. He has the hands. He's got everything we're looking for. And that makes our offense just so much better when we can have that. A cool stat, or interesting stat I found, was Matt Nagy's offense is all predicated on being unpredictable and not having to substitute and all that. That's why it's so effective when he had a Kareem Hunt style guy. But last year you get Jordan Howard, a plotter, just disgusting, limited skill set. I hate that guy. He absolutely fucked my fantasy season in a couple of leagues. But when he was in, the team ran over 55% of the time, so very predictable, whereas it was only 37% when they had Tariq Cohen in. So it was the second highest run rate when Howard was in the field, 4th lowest when Tariq Cohen is. That's the opposite of unpredictable. But David Montgomery, with that 3-down skill set, that perfect fit for the inside zone that Nagy likes to run, you're going to get 3-down work, and in what should be one of the top 10 offenses in the league. I love David Montgomery, what he's bringing to the table here.
All right, we're about to do a total suckfest here on tier 2, because I know that I haven't even talked to you, but I'm sure you just love this guy so much.
Oh, I do.
Nikhil Harry, is that how it's pronounced? Nikhil?
It is pronounced correctly.
All
yes.
right.
Don't you dare mess up his name.
Well, no, it's pronounced the way it looks. 87 overall, wide receiver 36. Obviously the Patriots, they seem to figure things out even when they have obvious shortcomings in their lineup. But, they had a huge gaping hole at receiver. Mm-hmm. They lost Gronk. There's still some people that hope that we'll see Gronk again, but he's not on the roster. He's not going to be there opening day. He's not going to start. He's officially retired. And this guy at Arizona State was turning some heads. The Patriots picked him with the last pick in the 1st round.
Absolutely. You mentioned everything that was important there. The gaping opportunity with Hogan gone, with obviously Gronk gone. They had 160 targets up for grabs. That was ninth most in the league. And 1,771 air yards, the sixth most in the league. So tons of open aerial pie, as we like to call it. And, and he
it's
is
the best kind of aerial pie.
And it's when it's coming from Tom Brady, it's a delicious aerial pie. When it's coming from a great creative schemer like Josh McDaniels, you know it's a delicious aerial pie. And this is the first time in the Bill Belichick era that a team has drafted a wide receiver in the first round for the Patriots. If there's been one, conception about the Patriots, it's that they suck at hitting receivers, but it's always because Belichick's trying to find that gem in the rough, and he finds an Edelman, and then he busts on 10 others type of guy. But he hasn't just gone out and been like, this is my guy, I'm not trading out of my pick, I'm taking him. This is Nikhil Harry. They were getting offers, tons of offers to get that 32nd pick, because when you draft in the first round, you get that fifth cost-controlled option for a first rounder, which you don't get beyond that. So it makes it that much more valuable to have a first-round pick because of that control in the contract situation. And still, Belichick didn't trade out. So it just tells you how highly they think of this guy, and it's easy to see what they love. I mean, 6'3", he's 230 pounds, runs a 4.53. So you just, if you want to smash a wide receiver on a board and just say, what's the prototypical build? That's Nikhil Harry. And he can go up and get the ball. He's got great verticality, great just jump ball. Like, that's my ball, I'm going to go get it type of mentality. Very competitive, loves the game, has all those intangibles. He already said, I'll play special teams. I don't care. I just want this team to win. I don't care how much time I see as long as I'm helping the team. So he's got that Patriots mindset down, which is, of course, as important as anything to avoid the doghouse. But what I really love about this guy is, despite that size, despite that verticality, he has just unbelievable run after the catch ability and very nimble feet. So you can move him in the slot and put him in a big one, so you move him all over the place. Big-bodied slot guy catches it and just rips through breaks, tackles. He's going to be like a bigger Julian Edelman in a way, so I can't wait to see what this guy does. They haven't had a talent like that since Randy Moss in terms of being able to go up and get the ball, but then you combine what they also love to do with after the catch. I'm thrilled for Nikhil Harry, and it went from Patriots having nobody at receiver to adding a huge talent, and then if you get Josh Gordon back at some point, my good God, you have Edelman and these two guys on the outside. I went from being very depressed about my Patriots receiving core to just this one guy really changes my opinion. They just got to build that chemistry. Complex playbook, got to build the chemistry, but there's a lot to love about this landing spot.
Who's Nikhil Harry remind you the most of all the receivers that you know of, say past or present? I mean, like, who's a guy that just jumps out? You said bigger slot guy. Obviously, it's not Edelman. He's a bigger, more athletic version of that. Who's he remind you of? Putting you on the spot.
It is on the spot a little bit, but it kind of reminds me of Andre Johnson in a way, the way he just fights for the ball, but also can just shake free at the line so well, and when he has it in his hands. Similar to Larry Fitz a little bit in that sense, when they moved Larry Fitz to the slot, when Bruce Arians made that move. A lot of that type of big-bodied guy that can get off easily.
Kind of like a slot Dez Bryant.
But a lot of comparisons.
Still good.
There was a lot of comparisons drawn after the draft to Dez Bryant because of his ability to fight for jump balls, Nikhil Harry, and all that. So a lot of that was going on, but I see more what they're going to capitalize on would be that running after the catch. Just a beast, a freaking horse when the ball is in his hands. So that's more of his strength, in my opinion.
All right, well, those are all very flattering comparisons. So, I mean, if you're even partially close to right on them, good for you. Kyler Murray, number 4 on our list. Obviously, quarterback drafted number 1 overall by Arizona. You got him as your quarterback 13. Now, I just want to say this. All right, a couple things. I have a couple comments on. Obviously, I know more about this guy than a lot of the other guys because he just got so much media coverage. He's the number 1 guy. So, two comments I have. First of all, Arizona, I believe, as of a few days ago, traded Josh Rosen for a 6th round pick to the Dolphins, something like that.
It was like a 3rd rounder. Yeah, they didn't get a ton of value. Let's put it that way.
I don't think it was a 3rd rounder. I think it was. I think it was lower than that.
It was. I would say 58. I want to say it was 58 off a late 2nd, early 3rd. I'm pretty sure they got a 5th rounder and a late 2nd.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm getting wrong. So anyway, they traded the 10th pick for the 58th pick in the span of 1 year. Okay, so I guess that's the point I was making. First of all, I'm just rolling my eyes right now.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Second of all, and I'm not a gigantic Murray fanboy or anything like that. I like him. I enjoy watching him play, but I do just want to point out the NFC West quarterback situation right now. It's going to be Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Jimmy G, and Jared Goff, which is
interesting.
pretty exciting division,
young
right?
upstart. Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's a pretty exciting division. Like, I mean, that's a lot of must. I mean, Goff, I don't really look at him and go, oh, that's must see TV, but the Rams certainly are. And so, I don't know. I'm very interested in all the NFC West teams all of a sudden, which is kind of a weird thing.
I know. I'm especially intrigued by Kyler Murray. And I get what you're saying. Yeah, they drafted one quarterback and then it was the 10th pick and then they invest the first overall pick. It certainly is not good capital management, but I applaud the team for not
He's the right guy, and they should do it. I mean,
exactly. If you didn't think Rosen was the fit for what they're trying to do with Kingsbury, if you're that all in on this new head coach, as they are, then you got to let him get his guy and see what he can do. So, yes, I totally agree. It's poor management, especially when they trade up for Rosen and give up all that. But if they knew he wasn't the guy, he wasn't going to give them the best chance to do what they want to do on the field, then I'm okay with the move. And I think Kyler Murray is going to come in and we'll see. He's got every chance to succeed because he's going into a similar air raid system to what he operated in college under Lincoln Riley, in which he thrived. 4,361 passing yards, 42 TDs, and very sound decision-making. Only 7 interceptions, plus 1,000 rushing yards and 12 rushing TDs, too. So the guy can get it done with his arm. He's a baseball player. We all know he got drafted in the first round as a baseball player. So you know he's got the arm. He can hit every single layer of the field with accuracy, with strength. He can move in the pocket, very dangerous, can throw the ball on the run quite well, which he's going to need to do because that offensive line is horrendous. That's the one real question mark.
Not a whole lot of protection right now.
It's god-awful. But their coach did say, to his credit, Lincoln Riley said, there's nobody as good at avoiding contact as Kyler Murray. He knows when to get down. He's not going to leave himself out there to get crushed every play. He's tiny. If he gets killed, he's not going to be bouncing back up. So there is that worry it might be RG3 where he runs too much and gets killed. I think this is a different beast that is smarter about his body, knows how to protect himself. He's always plays at this side, so he knows how to play. And that was his quote. He's like, yeah, everyone's acting like I haven't been 5'9" my whole life. Like, I know how to play quarterback at 5'9", and electrifying talent-wise. And so I just liked him right from the start when they draft him, but then they go and draft 3 more receivers over the next 2 days of the draft, including Andy Isabella, runs a 4.3, just ridiculous long speed to go with some of the best quicks. He's so compared to Wes Welker and Danny Amendola, but those guys ran 4.6s. Those guys were a little bit slow when you come to the long speed. Andy Isabella can stretch you vertically and then destroy you on the inside as well. So that's a dangerous weapon for an air raid attack. You get Hakeem Butler, 6'5", 4.8 40 on the outside, streaking to go with Christian Kirk and Larry Fitz. This goes from one of the worst receiving cores in the league to one of the most intriguing, especially, again, what is Kingsbury going to do with all these guys? I can't wait to talk with Hollingshead. I'll have a better answer for you if you tune into the next episode. But me personally, I think just between the weapons, between the scheme, and then the individual talent, there's no reason not to love what Murray's going to bring to the table. He's the kind of that ideal guy. You get Phillip Rivers at 12, your quarterback 12, you take him, you got your nice floor, then get some upside. Go with Kyler Murray because he's going to bring a ton of it, especially because that defense probably will suck, and you alluded to, the division's very exciting, lots of intriguing talent all over the place, so I'm seeing some shootouts coming from the desert. I think Kyler Murray's going to ball out fantasy-wise.
2 things. First of all, my next door neighbor knows Andy Isabella really well.
Really? How so?
Yeah, he's like he's some big shot athletic director type. He's not the athletic director.
Dude,
he's
get
like
him on
some
the pod.
senior or
Let's
something
get Andy on the pod.
For UMass.
We got to get Andy on the pod.
He presented some award to Andy Isabella at the UMass athletic thing like a week ago or something.
That's amazing.
Anyway, that's one thing. Second thing is, I really thought the Patriots were going to maybe go get Josh Rosen.
I was thinking,
and I, by the way, thought that would have just been a devastatingly good move.
Right, because cost-controlled contract the next 4 years. You could learn a couple years under the GOAT. I wouldn't hate it, and I don't love Josh Rosen, but that's the type of situation I would like him in.
Such a great pickup for cheap. I'm sure they'll figure something else out, but like I was actually genuinely concerned that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. All right, number 5, DK Metcalf, 88th overall, wide receiver, number 37. Seahawks actually traded up with the Patriots. Patriots love having people trade up with them. They just love it. They get up. Belichick's just sitting there like, yeah. When someone's like, hey, man, we'd like your pick. We'd like to trade up to get your pick. Anyway, they traded up with the Patriots to get Ole Miss wide receiver DK Metcalf with the number 64 overall pick in the draft. Sell me on this guy.
I mean, it's DK Metcalf. I just have to show you a picture of him and you'll be sold. I'm sure you've seen those just shirtless pictures where he looks like, I mean, carved out a granite style guy. And it translates into speed. It translates into verticality. Just freakish all around for his size. A big guy at 228, 6'3", blazes a 4'3", 340, leads the combine in verticality, bench presses 27, so he's strong as all hell, athletic as all hell. So everything in terms of just a physical specimen, I don't have to sell you on. The guy is an absolute monster. And what he does very well, which is run go routes, jump up over people and catch the ball. And if you get him the ball on a screen, he can rip through defenders. What he sucks at, though, he's as equally glaring as his strengths are his weaknesses. His cone drills were horrendous because this guy is not very shifty. And as a receiver, you kind of need shiftiness at least most of the time. But when you land in Seattle, I couldn't have picked a more perfect spot for DK Metcalf to go because they don't run a very complex passing game. They're run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, play action, let's bomb it down to Tyler Lockett. Run the ball, let's take a bomb down to David Moore. But now you're taking David Moore out of the equation, who made tons of big plays when you got Russell Wilson dropping the ball exactly where he wants to. We saw David Moore having these huge touchdown outings. You put DK Metcalf, a 1,000 times the athlete of a David Moore, into that system, he's going to be the perfect fit. So even if I don't love this guy and know he's raw around the edges as a holistic receiver, he's got plenty of time to develop that game, and he landed in the perfect system where he can still have that day one impact while he's refining his skill set. I love the fit to perfection. We had Sikkim on. You would have loved the quote. I don't know if you had heard the interview yet, but I go, are you drinking the Kool-Aid on this guy? He seems like he doesn't have all the traits you'd want out of a receiver. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. And he goes, I'm not just drinking the Kool-Aid, I'm dumping the entire cooler all over my face. I love him. So that's a guy I trust. I love Sikkim as I know, it's great. He got so into it. And I love Sikkim as evaluation, so I'm excited to hear what he has to say about Metcalf landing in Seattle. Because me personally, I think it's the perfect spot. We'll see if he agrees. I was shocked that he fell as far as he did to 64 overall. There were some rumblings he might go towards the top of the first round. He falls to the end of the second. He's going to have that chip on his shoulder, and that's the way he plays. I think Pete Carroll will kind of milk that as well, the psychology of the situation. So everything about the fit to me is perfect. I absolutely love this one.
And so one other thing about that whole thing is we got a guy that, like, he's one of the people that I had heard of because, your top offensive guys, even if they're not going to go super high in the draft, like those are the type of guys that people like me hear about. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you mentioned this when you were just talking, maybe I didn't hear you say it. I saw a rumor, or I heard a rumor recently, Baldwin may be done.
I know. I had that as the notes to talk about, but we had so many rookie things to get through, we weren't going to get to it. But yeah.
No, but I feel like that's relevant in the context of
100%. We should have mentioned that because, if Baldwin is done, there's a gaping number 2 target. Tyler Lockett will kind of slide into that number 1 role, and I'm sure he's going to dominate in it. Tyler Lockett, I love as a player. But this is a solid, it's a low volume aerial pie because they don't throw a ton. They were the most run heavy team in the league outside of the Ravens once Lamar Jackson took over. So they love to pound the rock, but when they do throw it, they take deep shot after deep shot, and Russell Wilson is so efficient in the deep passing game. It's still a delicious, even if it's a small aerial pie, it's really just, if you picture like a tiny pie, good. But
it's like
dense
gourmet.
with
it's
filling.
Like the ones they sell at
Exactly. It's a nice aerial pie. And Metcalf fits into that aerial pie, I think, especially if you remove a huge mouth like Doug Baldwin. You're absolutely right. It's very important to mention that these targets are very vacated if he's done, and it sounds like he's played his last down, which is crazy to me. And I love Doug Baldwin, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's a good player. All right, number 6, and it was a great name, Mecole Hardman, or Hardman is probably how he goes, but we're going to call him Hardman.
The Hardman.
Wide receiver, 38, 92 overall. The Chiefs traded up with the Rams. They got the Georgia wide receiver with the number 56 overall pick in the draft. What do you think?
They
obviously, the Chiefs have got glaring issues potentially at wide receiver. We don't need to get into the whole Tyreek Hill thing right now. We will certainly talk about that.
That's sitting there waiting for sure.
I have thoughts.
Oh, we both have thoughts, and we'll get to that maybe next episode when it's a more veteran-focused thing, because, there's tons of implications. We could do a whole podcast on Tyreek Hill and what that's going to mean. But then you look at who they go and draft, they clearly are not expecting Tyreek Hill back because they draft what everyone said was the Tyreek Hill clone of this draft. He had 4.33 track all-star style speed, smaller guy. So, it's going to be very easy to pigeonhole this guy into the Tyreek Hill role, and he'll play that role. Now, if he'll play that role as well as Tyreek Hill? Probably not. Very few people are actually that dominant on the field as Tyreek is, but he has the same skill set. He's going to play with the same quarterback who's an MVP and slings a better deep ball than anybody maybe in league history. No, is he Tyreek Hill? No, but he offers all the same athleticism, playing in the same system, playing with the same quarterback. So could this guy still have a major year one impact? Absolutely. So I love this guy a lot. I mean, number 6 on the rookie rankings is no joke. He's in my top 100 overall, my wide receiver 38. I could see him being one of those flexes that you hit it at the right time and you get your 30 type points. Any piece of the Chiefs offense is going to be amazing. And you got Sammy Watkins, one of the most injury prone receivers, as the only guy ahead of this guy potentially for the number 1 role. So I didn't even think of that. And as I'm talking, I'm thinking this is a handcuff with benefits at receiver in the most explosive offense in the league. So they're just from his own perspective and skill set. I love it. And then the fact that you have that benefit when Sammy Watkins goes down, then this guy ascends to Mahomes' favorite target outside of Travis Kelce. I get that, but I'm talking about receivers. Unbelievable. There's just so much upside to this guy. So explosive, so fast, and just the perfect landing spot for him. So Mecole Hardman, very solid, hard man, if that's what you want to call him. The hard man is going to be a great fantasy bargain, yeah.
I mean, you remember famously, but now infamously, when I picked Tyreek Hill to outscore ODB. And I mean, now I'm like, oh God, I don't even want anything to do with this guy now. But I mean, that was a commentary on being in the Chiefs offense as well as being just an amazing athlete. And, and it came through, and he had a great season again and was like amazing. And so, I mean, I look at this guy who I don't know very much about, but I look at what's open in the Chiefs offense. I look at Mahomes with another year under his belt, and I think to myself, this guy might be undervalued even on your chart, even though I'm sure you have him higher than a lot of the experts. I'm going to have to do a little more research so I can talk about it a little more confidently, but I see potential dollar signs there.
Absolutely.
Number 7, running back, Miles Sanders, 71 overall. 30th RB on your board. The Eagles took the Penn State running back with the 53rd pick overall in the draft. He's not a huge guy. I mean, I don't know. He's like a stocky build. He's 5'11", 210, something like that.
Yep, right around there. Yep.
Yeah, and I remember. I think I'm trying to remember because I watched some Penn State. I think he started like a year for the Lions.
Yeah, because he's behind Saquon Barkley the last couple of years, so he only had that 1 year. Right, I can see why he'd be behind someone if it's Saquon Barkley. But he had himself quite the first year of starting, 1,274 yards and 9 TDs on the ground, 24 receptions, so a decent receiver. No Saquon by any means, but he can get it done. And so the only reason this guy's as low as he is because it's the Eagles, and it's been such a committee-heavy system under Doug Peterson. He's always used multiple backs, but then you look and you're like, well, then if they're going to do a committee, why would they trade up to go get Miles Sanders? Why would they trade for Jordan Howard and then still trade up to go get this guy if they're not envisioning a significant role for him? And then you come and look at some of the quotes afterwards, and it's Howie Roseman, who's been there for a while, and he says, this guy was a coaching staff favorite, a scouting favorite, a front office favorite. We think he's special talent and a perfect fit for the offense. We haven't had a running back like this in years. And then you're like, okay, so it's been years since you've had a productive running back because all you do is use committees, but maybe you haven't had the right talent to actually get that every down style role. And Peterson did come from Andy Reid's philosophy where he rides workhorses. He had those Jamal Charles years there. So maybe this is the right guy to crack that code. We'll see as the summer develops because they did trade for Jordan Howard, like we mentioned. They have Corey Clement and all those other guys. So it could be a shitty, awful committee style stable, but they love this guy. They clearly wanted him and they went out and got him. So maybe, just maybe, this is a meeting of talent that finally will give him a 3-down horse that they actually truly wanted. But I'm still a little skeeved and sketched out because of Peterson's past. So that's why I don't have him a little bit higher. And a lot of people are loving this fit and they're saying this is going to be perfect. In terms of redraft, though, I'm just a little bit more down than the consensus until I know a little bit more how this workload's going to divide up.
All right, this takes us to tier 3, actually, number 8 on your rookie list. Darrell Henderson, 44th running back taken, 112 overall. Rams trading up with the Bucks to get him. This guy played for Memphis, number 70 pick overall in the draft. What do you think of this guy? Why should we care?
Yeah, so 112 on my big board. I consider him kind of that ultimate handcuff with benefits because it's Todd Gurley's backup. And what offense is more productive than the Rams? They use the running back religiously. The whole goal of the offense is quote unquote merging the passing games and the run games. And of course, that's established through play action, through peppering the running back with screens, through tons and tons of carries to establish that backfield presence. So if Todd Gurley goes down, this guy's going to get the most prime of situations for a running back. And even if not, you saw what they were doing with CJ Anderson at the end of the year. It became kind of a 1-2 punch, and they've alluded to the fact that they have their Batman and Gurley, but they want a Robin. So it seems like we're going to get, it probably won't be that CJ Anderson almost dominating the carry style thing here, but you'll get a little bit of standalone value plus that ultimate handcuff value. Darrell Henderson's an extremely explosive guy, ran a 4.49 as a speedster, but he breaks tackles like nobody's business. He averaged 8.2 yards per carry, 6.2 yards after contact. So he's great at breaking it and just continuing to move his feet. Incredibly explosive, solid receiver. So if and when he were to start, he would be an immediate top 5 or 6 running back week in and week out as the lead guy. And we know Gurley, the knee is definitely questionable as terms that there's rumors you might need stem cell treatment. There's rumors there might be arthritis in there. Why would the Rams...
arthritis is the big rumor.
Right? So why would the Rams, who were very limited entering the draft in terms of capital, still use multiple picks to trade up and go get this guy if he was just a mere insurance policy? So to me, it's very explosive talent in an amazing situation that obviously has a humongous roadblock in the number one player in fantasy for back-to-back years in Todd Gurley, but that roadblock seems to be withering more and more by the day.
Yeah, it's such upside though. I mean, this is like
stash, the ultimate stash.
Right. Paris Campbell, 9th pick, 113 overall, wide receiver 44. This is the Ohio State wide receiver who you might have seen in some of the big games this year. 59th pick overall in the draft by the Colts. I actually saw this guy play on TV a couple of times. Pretty impressive. Given Luck another weapon is, not something to sneeze at.
Never. It's an explosive offense as is. So then you put someone else that runs a 4.31 40 and is like a running back after the catch in terms of his elusiveness and speed. So this guy gets into space. He's incredibly dangerous. And this offense is all about creating space. Frank Reich is a master at generating yards after the catch opportunities. We saw T.Y. Hilton explode in this scheme last year. We thought, I don't know, he's got speed. He can go deep, but that's not the Reich calling card. And Reich still knew exactly how to maximize that speed on slants and getting these guys going, and there's no one speedier and better after the catch than Paris Campbell in this draft. So an incredibly explosive guy that's almost like a running back in that sense, so they can attack every single quadrant on the field now when you got Ebron and Doyle, and then you get T.Y. Hilton burning down, and then you get 4.31 speed with Campbell, who can do it all underneath as well. It's just one of those offenses that is extremely scary. Maybe it moves Andrew Luck up past my guy Baker, who I love. It's just a beautiful pick in terms of fit, in terms of talent. I love Paris Campbell this year, an amazing penny stock.
TJ Hawkinson, tight end 15. I'm not sure where he went overall, but the Lions took him. He's out of Iowa. He was the actually eighth overall pick in the draft. So, I hear the term next Gronk thrown around a lot. We're going to be hearing that. I mean, it's just like every basketball player that's come up in the last 30 years. Oh, is he the next Jordan? And it's like, right. We're going to see that thrown around. Next Gronk, let's put on the brakes a little bit. But tell me about this guy. Get me excited about him.
It's easy to draw those comparisons because Patricia comes from the Patriots, and they had a dire tight end need, and he goes and gets this guy who's very similar Gronk size, 6'5",
sure, but Matt Stafford's throwing to this guy.
Exactly. There's no GOAT here throwing the rock, so of course it's going to be a much tougher time becoming a Gronk. But Hawkinson himself, is complete of a tight end prospect that's come out probably since Gronkowski himself. Incredible in the passing game, a fantastic blocker, very sure-handed. It comes from that Iowa. It's becoming tight end U since they had Kittle just blow up, and then they have Noah Fant who went to your Broncos. It's just breeding tight ends there in Iowa. I don't know what the hell they're feeding them, but this guy's yeah, exactly, right? That Iowa corn, something weird's in there. But he's not just, he looks unexciting because he's just this big, 6'5" white dude, but he actually comes with 88th spark percentile athleticism, running just a great 40, a great cone drill, 37.5-inch vertical. So this guy is just a monster in terms of athleticism. And like I said, a great blocker because he can get in there and uplift defenders. But then he also has those Travis Kelce type of moves in the receiving game. So very complete guy. Rookie tight end is often a steep learning curve, which is why he's all the way down here at 10 on the list, and he's only my tight end 15 for the season right now, because it's very rare we see a rookie tight end actually translate like this. But if anyone's going to do it, this guy's in a location where there's no tight end in his way, and they're pretty devoid of targets. Yeah, they got Golladay and Marvin Jones, but this guy could eat up 80 to 100 to 120 targets even this year as a red zone monster. There's a lot to like about TJ Hawkinson.
You don't think that Joe Flacco is going to pull out some of that patented magic and get this guy Noah Fan up in the top 10 tight ends? Are you kidding me? Flacco?
He loves dipping and dunking to his tight ends, and Fant is incredible. He's even more athletic after the catch than Hawkinson. So I like Fant a lot too. I think both of those boys. That's a question I have for Sycamore for tomorrow night. Is they both landed in these two spots? Who's going to be the more productive one? I lean Hawkinson just as the more complete guy, but Fant is in a great spot himself too. So both of those tight ends could make day one rookie impacts. But I'm going to lean Hawkinson personally.
All right. So look, we just finished the top 10. We don't have much time left. I would like to just real quick rapid fire these next three guys.
These ones are more for poor fits. That's why I want to give you the top 10. Okay, yeah,
I know.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I want to rapid fire these next three guys because something that you did I thought that was really cool is three guys that, if you're talking about like talent, I mean, these guys might be up with this top 10, maybe even higher than some of them, but just landed in just like really bad places that don't suit their skill set so well. And we think there's at least a risk of them being swallowed up a little bit. We'll see what happens. So just real quick, rapid fire. Let me hit you with some of these. Marquise Brown landing in fantasy hell with the run-obsessed Ravens. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the first receiver taken in this class, probably the number one ranked on most boards. Just an extreme athlete, so fast and shifty and dangerous at Oklahoma these last couple of years. And then he goes to the Ravens, which is just disgusting. They ran the ball in over 66% of their plays once Lamar Jackson took over. We saw what happened. John Brown was right there in your top 20 or so receivers when Flacco was in there, and he was able to catch bombs from a guy that could actually throw the ball. He became, I think it was like the wide receiver 100-something once Lamar Jackson took over. So as much as I love the talent of Hollywood Brown, the quarterback fit is horrendous. The overall offense is going to be as run-heavy as they come. So yeah, he'll have a couple big weeks in here and there, but outside of best ball where you can actually you don't have to actually predict those and get them right, I don't see this guy making a consistent enough impact to actually be in fantasy lineups this year, which is too bad. He goes to if he was with the Colts instead of Paris Campbell, for example, this guy would be like number one on this list. So it's just unfortunate, the landing spot for sure.
Luck of the draw. Titans selected Ole Miss wide receiver A.J. Brown with the 51st overall pick. Yeah,
it's Titans. You don't have to say Titans. That's all you got to say.
I mean, you don't even really need to elaborate. I mean,
right, exactly.
They're a bad fit for everybody.
They're just a bad fit for any receiver, anybody other than Derrick Henry getting force-fed carries, which is hopefully the case this year.
They might not even do.
And they might not even do. I know. I can't.
Like 6 carries a game. You don't know.
Exactly. So who knows? Maybe the Titans suddenly roll out this crazy offense under Arthur Smith, but he's an old tight end coach that's already talked about wanting an ugly offense that grinds it out. That's not where I want A.J. Brown, who's very silky smooth, a great route runner. This is not the place for him to actually have an impact. And they have Adam Humphries, another slot guy that is, what are they doing? What type of offense are they going for here with these guys? Sucks. I wish he was anywhere else.
You said it, an ugly grind at that offense. I mean, they come out and say, that they are looking to duplicate offenses that were successful 40 years ago in the NFL. Exactly. That's great. That's very forward thinking, very progressive. All right, Packers selected Texas A&M tight end Jake Sternberger with the 75th overall pick in the draft. Packers, it's one of those. The Packers are an interesting team because they get these good tight ends from time to time, and we always, or not us necessarily, maybe we're like a little ahead of the curve on this, but your average football fan is always just like, oh my gosh, Packers got Jimmy Graham. Right. Oh my gosh, Packers got Martellus Bennett, or whatever, and it's just like, it's
never worked.
Probably
Jared
not going to amount. Not going to happen.
Nope.
Aaron Rodgers is great. Packers offense can be great. They don't have a great tradition of hitting the tight end, even when they have a talented tight end.
No, it seems year in and year out. They had that guy, Jermichael Finley, like 10 years ago. He had one good season, and ever since, everyone's been chasing that. Whether it's
Bubba Franks about 15 years ago.
Yeah,
he had a good
exactly. And a whole different offense. It's one of those things where Sternberger's not like this. It's not so much of like A.J. Brown and Hollywood Brown where it's a devastating move. But this was one of those athletic tight ends. Let's say he lands at the Patriots or one of these teams that really needed one. Could be a day one impact rookie. He goes to a place where Jimmy Graham's already there, where they historically don't use tight ends, where Aaron Rodgers will probably freeze him out, make him cry, and ruin his NFL career because Aaron Rodgers is a complete cock. So ultimately, I don't like this fit at all. And it's too bad for a guy that is a athletic, move all over the place style tight end. Just an awful fit for him.
All right. We're going to wrap things up there. That was nice. We also have some sleepers we're going to get into. We're going to hit those on the next pod. I think that'd be a nice thing to end on when we got a few minutes to kill, because there are a couple sleepers. I mean, for a lot of people, all these guys are sleepers because they just don't pay as much attention to college. But the Wolf, of course, has done a little bit of extra work on that. So it's fun, man. Fun getting back on the horse.
Hell yeah. I missed it, man. It was good talking to you. Good catching up. I don't always do a ton of rookie research until right after the draft. And these last 2 days, it's literally been the only thing I've been staring at and reading because I want to know their fits. Other than Game of Thrones, of course. Oh, my God. But yeah, it's been great just knowing once that again is right when we last recorded was the free agency and you have that football in the air again and you just I feel alive again. It's nice. Otherwise a useless human being, so it's nice when I have a purpose in life and people can actually talk to me because fantasy's relevant again.
Hey, by the way, since we're about to leave now, I'm just going to make another Game of Thrones comment on the way.
Yeah,
could you believe in that whole when they're by the tree in Winterfell, Weirwood or whatever? I can never remember what it's called.
Yeah, the Weirwood.
But Anyway, there's a place where I'm from on the Eastern Shore of Virginia called Weirwood, spelled exactly the same way.
Really?
So yeah. So anyway, could you believe what a tough hang Bran was being?
Useless. Like, what are you? What's
his sitting there talking to him, and he's just like,
yeah, you're a good man, Theon Greyjoy. Sweet,
yeah,
thanks, dude. Do you not have the power to stop this shit? Like, what are you doing? What did Bran do for 40 fucking minutes of that episode? He flew a few ravens out that didn't do anything. Like,
he rolled his eyes back, and you're like, oh, here we go.
He's
Bran. He's gonna morph into a dragon, and it's like, no, but he's got anywhere from 12 to 15 crows that flying around, just kind of fluttering.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah, that'll stop everything. Oh God, just so useless. I was waiting for the big Bran moment the entire time. Nothing.
There's this really funny Family Guy scene, which maybe you've seen, where this woman's being one of the how they do cutaway gags on Family Guy, and one of the guys said oh man, you're as useless as Aquaman. And they show this guy just attacking this woman on a beach, and he just throws her down, and Aquaman pops up in the water, and he's like, "Hey, you better stop that!" And the guy's like, "What are you gonna do?" He's like, "Well, I don't know, but if you don't cut it out, there's 7 or 8 fish that are gonna be here." There's just these little fish, probably 600 away, just splashing around. That's kind of how the move that I felt like Bran pulled there. What
Great
a tough
comparison.
hand. Also, I just want to say also. The battle plan for the North, terrible.
Yeah, go Dothraki, go die.
Go charge into nothingness where you literally can't see your enemy. And we're gonna send you all. By the way,
exactly.
We're gonna every one of you, just go. What we want to do is completely separate you from the rest of the force, even though you're probably our best fighters, and we're just going to send you into the distance to attack a completely unknown enemy, even though you have the support of Winterfell right behind you here, and the entire Dothraki exterminated in 15 seconds, probably.
Oh, God.
I mean, who made that call?
I don't know. It was awful. Awful call. Didn't like it.
That's worse than Pete Carroll's call on the Super Bowl. A lot worse.
Yeah, seriously, right? That's the worst call since
the worst calls I've ever seen. Also, I felt like the Dragon's totally underutilized.
Yeah, exactly, right? You have these, and they're floating above the clouds. Yeah.
All the time. They should have.
Non-stop stream, yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot about that. I mean, is the Night King just done? We've been watching this build for 7 seasons now, and then that's it. There's no real story development after the fact, or I thought there was gonna be some relation to the Starks, and there would be some sort of there's a reason he's here.
Just some guy.
Just some guy causing havoc for no reason other than to cause havoc because he was pissed at the children of the forest. Great story. Great storyline. Great ending. Meaningless. And, like, yeah, it was badass that Arya got it. Like, if you're listening now and you haven't seen it, like, I apologize already. We just spoiled everything.
I mean, this probably won't be put up till tomorrow. And if you haven't seen Game of Thrones until tomorrow, like, then you
probably aren't doing it anyways, right? So... But, like, yeah, it was cool she got it, but that just seemed kind of meaningless in itself, too. Like, she hasn't been connected to this guy. It was just, yeah, what you brought was my main question. It was like, what the fuck's the point of Bran? Like, if there's one thing he was supposed to do was to stop the Night King. He just sits there and stares at people and rolls his eyes in the back of their heads and a couple crows fly out and that's fucking it. Like, that's literally the only thing he did for 40 minutes.
It's like, hold on a second. I'm going to turn the tide of this battle.
Right.
I think there's like 11 or 12 crows in one of those trees about a quarter mile away. Well, they're going to add some confusion to the battlefield.
Yes.
Look at that. We're smoke and mirrors, baby. Smoke and mirrors.
Oh, so bad. I was a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. For all the hype that episode had, like, yeah, it was fun and entertaining, but...
It was great, but the thing that bothered me the most, I mean, there's a lot of things, like the Dothraki charge still just infuriates me.
Yeah.
When it happened, even before like they did it, said to my wife, I was like, you're literally sending these guys into like this cavernous abyss where you can't see them or support them. Like they're all going to die.
Exactly.
And they did. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The thing that bothered me the most was how dark it was, honestly.
I hated it. I could not stand it. I honestly, I had a few edibles before it started, and I was like, am I tripping out? Like, what the hell's wrong with me? Like, is this it? And I was watching with my girlfriend. She's like, no, I can't see anything either. So I was like, all right, at least it's not me. Because I thought I was having some sort of horrible trip or something. But no, it was just, yeah, that was awful. I hated the darkness. I hated Bran's uselessness. I didn't like the story development of... I will say, I don't want to be so negative. There's some awesome shots where it's like a bunch of people are near death, and you get to see all your favorite characters like clawing through people, and like... I thought the dragon fighting was, even though they were underutilized, I thought there was some...
It was cool, but I couldn't tell which one was... I couldn't tell which was which when they were fighting a lot of the time,
yeah,
which was tough. I mean, there was a bunch... I don't know.
Does it even rank in your top 10 episodes of all time?
I'd have to see a list... it would if it made the top 10, it would be like near the bottom of the top 10.
Exactly. And that's disappointing, right?
It's like, probably in like the... I'm just guessing. I'd have to see a list. I'll bet it's like in like the 9 to 13 range.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was a good, entertaining episode, but for when all this hype about the longest ever filmed battle sequence and all this stuff, you're expecting probably the best episode you've ever seen, and it wasn't the best episode. It wasn't that good. No, wasn't. Yeah, all disappointing.
Right. Of course, for all of you that tuned in for football,
you got most of it. We gave you some good ones.
Yeah, and I mean, we're passionate about football. You can tell which of these things we could actually argue about for 2 hours, though.
Right. Seriously. Oh, God.
All right, we're going to wrap things up there. You got any social media you want to plug?
Yeah, of course. This is the Fantasy Fullback Dive. As we alluded to, we have a ton of great interviews coming, a ton of more standalone episodes where we're getting more creative. Tons of great stuff coming. So if you liked what you heard, we'd love a subscribe. We'd love you to keep coming back for these lead blocks. And we'd love to hear from you, too, if you like what you heard. A review means the world to us. If you want to connect with me personally, you can find me at RotoStreetWolf on Twitter, Roto Street Journal on Instagram and Facebook. RotoStreetJournal.com is the homepage. Roto ST Journal on Twitter is where you can find all of us on all those socials. I wonder how many people, when I rifle those off, like, have actually written it down and be like, oh yeah, I got to go find it. Maybe we've gotten like 5 or 6, but it's like, I feel like I go through that list every time and it's like, let's hit pause and then this one. But if you're still listening, we love you. Thanks for tuning in that entire time.
Yeah. Thank you to you 5 or 6. The rest of y'all, screw you. Anyway, that's going to do it.
I'm
My
the
name's
wolf.
Matt Truth Jones.
Yeah. We're a little rusty on our ending here. It's been too long.
We're rusty, but it was pretty good. It
was a good episode for sure.
Give us a B.
Absolutely.
It was at least as good as the Game of Thrones episode last time.
Oh yeah, better than that for sure. And I'm the wolf. Best of luck.
See you next time.
Next time, guys. See ya.